couple from the church. So that was 96, and I connected with an organization called Word Made Flesh, which was founded by undergraduates from Asbury University in the 90s under somebody called Sam Kamalason, who used to be the international vice president of World Vision. There's a kind of a little shrine to him within the Asbury Seminary Hall of Fame. Yeah. If you go into, I can't remember which building that's in, but he was a student at Asbury Seminary also. But he was very informative to the early vision of Word Made Flesh. And so we have a couple communities around the world. And here in Romania, we started serving with kids on the streets, kids that had been abandoned with HIV, kids coming out of orphanages, and doing a lot of work on the streets. Then creating foster care or group homes or children's homes, and then drop-in centers and day centers, community centers. So partnering with the churches, we work with all the local churches, which here evangelical churches mean Pentecostal, Baptist, and Brethren. And then Catholic churches here, a small percentage, but then vast majority are Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox. And even though the Protestants and the Orthodox typically kind of reject each other, we've partnered with both and have both on staff with us, kind of as a witness of hope in the midst of the tension. So the last 3 years, actually, I've lived in Wilmore. So Word Made Flesh offices have moved around the U.S. in the States and moved back to Wilmore 5-6 years ago. And I was asked to help kind of reset some of the administrative pieces. And then as I did that, I've also been doing a PhD program there. And I am in the dissertation writing phase of that, where I want to look at theology of development, and particularly in the Romania context. So I hope to do case studies here. And my wife is Romanian. So this is I'm in my flat here where we live in Galați. And we've been here. So thankfully, we've been able to be here during the summers as we've been back in the States. And this gives me a lot of life, as I don't love the administrative work I do in the States. So if I'm here for a few weeks in the summer, it gives me some energy to do that. But anyway, JC, I recognize your face, and I think there's a few others that are on the in this class that I may know. But looking forward to being with you all. The Lord bless you and keep you, even if you have to deal with me for a week.
Likewise.
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great. So David will be one of the key ingredients to your classroom experience and helping you kind of shape, especially the cross-cultural conversation. I mean, the whole MM720 thing is about cross-cultural ministry. So we want to begin kind of reflecting on what it means to be engaged with cultures around you, not just internationally, but also just in your neighborhood, which for most of us means that starts with who we are. That starts with us understanding our own culture, our own internal identity, our own value system, about the world and the people around us. And so you're going to have lots of chance to have conversations about some of the experiences that you have. The other key person that you will meet is Pastor Romika Yuga. Romy is the pastor of the Speranța Baptist Church in Arad. He has been a long time friend of mine, one of my best friends, and he will be actually the person who's organizing the schedule and making the connections along the way. David is in the city of Galați, as he identified, and so he'll be traveling across the country to the western side to meet you in Arad. So you will meet up face to face there, and we'll walk through kind of the process here in just a little bit. But the first connection point we need to do is we need to pray together and pray for blessings. So we're missing Anthony and Brooks.
Right.
Does anyone know either one of them? A chance? No?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're recording the thing so we can share it along the way. So let's pray together. Yeah. Lord Jesus, as we gather together today, we thank you for the privilege of just getting acquainted with each other, but we also thank you for the opportunity that is at hand, and ask God that you would work within each one of us to make this the very best experience possible, that your gift of grace might abound in our lives, that the experience that is shared together might help individuals to grow and flourish, and to be more sensitive to the people around us, and to know the way that mission and ministry can unfold in our own lives. Grant grace as we share this time together today. We pray that you would bless travel and all the details that are coming together. We thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, I'm Randy Jessen, and I'm the one who has created a little bit of havoc for all of you. Sorry about that. Originally, we were planning to travel all together, and but that was not the way that it was going to ultimately work out. As it, I think I mentioned to you that about the time that I had to shift gears, we were talking about having surgery on my knee, and since then that has been postponed. So in reality, I could probably come along with you, but at this point, it really doesn't really work out. But so that surgery is not going to happen until August right now. But I know that you're going to have a great experience. So my journey in Romania started back in the early 90s, when shortly after the revolution, when individuals were discovering the needs of children in Romania. After the revolution took place, there was a great influx of Western media into the country. And as a result of some of those news broadcasts and things of that sort, there was a new awareness of the situation in Romania, especially with children in the country. The country had been pretty much closed off to the Western world for a number of years, about 40 years, and so there was this great need of children who had been abandoned into a very large and complex orphanage system that was really pretty difficult. So my daughter and my wife originally launched things back in 1991, and they traveled to Bucharest, and then ultimately they got in a car with a driver that they didn't know, and he drove them all the way across the country to the city of Arad. And there they met a little girl who was 5 weeks old in the maternity hospital there in Arad, and that little girl is now my granddaughter, and she is a delight. She has a son of her own now. She's married and grown and flourishing along the way. But in the process, we learned that she also had a sister that had been abandoned into the system, an older sister. And so we started looking for her. It's like if your granddaughter's sister is in a Romanian orphanage, it's kind of like a problem, you know. So we started searching for her, and in the process found her. During the discovery process, we discovered that she was HIV positive and had a number of difficulties and things of that sort. And her name is Anna, and she's just right in the other room right now. She's 34 years old now. She was 5.5 when she came to us. So she was just at 5.5. She was just learning to walk. She had never had solid food. She had her health situation was really critical. It was anticipated that she might live 6 months because of the HIV/AIDS was just ravishing her body. But she's 34 years old today, and doing great. And so she's kind of the centerpiece of our life journey. And in the meantime, we began developing relationships with the churches. You're going to meet many of the people from those churches in just a few days. And we started developing mission ministry for children on site there, developing children's homes, a foster care system, and a really pretty neat network of folks coming together. So you're going to have a chance to be able to see some of that. You won't see the pieces of the puzzle that are in the central part of the country in Sibiu Cornatel and Prague. But one day, perhaps you'll get a chance to do that as well. Okay, all right. So let me first start with some details about your initial departure from the States and your arrival in. You're going to arrive in Budapest, in Hungary, in Budapest, and your departure is going to be from Chicago. So everyone, I think everyone, Martha, do you have contact information for everyone now, cell phone contacts and everything? Do you have information for everyone?
I'm only missing Brooks and JC.
Okay.
I have three. I have Sarah, I have Matt, and I have Anthony. Those
Okay.
are the contact numbers, and only Brooks and JC contact information.
Okay, JC, so if you could do that, if you could just send Martha your cell phone number and your whatever your arrival details are coming into Chicago.
Okay.
And Brooks,
Okay.
if you view this, if
Yeah.
you do the same, that'd be great. So I've asked Martha to be the contact person. Sometimes you're all going to gather in Chicago and depart together from there on the same flights. And sometimes, as you're kind of arriving into a central location, flights could get delayed and things of that sort. And so, if there's a problem, you need to contact Martha to keep her up to date. If you're delayed or some kind of difficulty arises, let her know so that there's clarity in communication. It's not like just kind of a black hole out there where you can't figure out where people are, things like that. So any kind of problem, contact Martha. You should have her phone number as well. And she's going to coordinate that gathering time there in Chicago, and everybody will be departing on the same flight heading to Budapest. When you arrive, you're going to arrive very early, about 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday, the 12th of July. At the airport in Budapest, and Romika Yuga, Romy is going to pick you up. So Martha also has contact information for, did I complete that network? Martha, do you have Romy's contact number to use with WhatsApp? You're muted, sorry.
I believe I do.
Okay.
I will verify and let you know.
Great. Okay. So once you arrive, Martha will make a quick phone call to Romy. He will be waiting out in the parking lot, and he'll just coordinate a point of meeting together. And you'll meet Romy. There'll be a van waiting for you. So you'll load up, and you have about a 3-hour drive into Romania, into the city of Arad on the western side of the country. I hope you've looked at a map. Have you looked at a Romanian map? Huh? Okay, so Arad's right there at the point. There's a little point that goes into Hungary, and it's right there at the point. You ought to look and check out where David lives as well, so you get a feel for where he is. But once you arrive in Arad, I promise you're going to be tired. It's a long travel day. And so you're coming in early in the morning. You will actually arrive in town probably about time to have lunch. And so having a lunch meal and then getting things kind of situated. I sent a message here a bit ago that there's been a little bit of a change in the housing situation. So you'll actually be staying at the Seven Springs Christian Camp, which is in a small, I sent you a link to a map. Did you get the link to the map? Did anybody look at the map? You see? Okay. Little bitty village, beautiful little village, wonderful countryside. There's no more peaceful place in the world, I promise you. It's a beautiful, beautiful setting, beautiful camp, very nice accommodations. It'll be a very nice setting for you for kind of home base. And while you are there will be youth campers at the camp, and you'll have a chance to be able to interact with them as well. But the camp will provide you with great accommodations, there's terrific setup for you with housing and showers and meals and all that thing there. Originally, we were going to be at Romy's home. Most of the time, we stay there, but he was very concerned about the middle of July and being overheated. And so the camp is a very, very beautiful spot. I promise you, if you come back and you tell me that you stood on the balcony at the camp and you looked out over the valley and you thought that that was just a terrible place, then I'll refund your money 100%, okay? Because you'll find it to be a very beautiful, very peaceful place, and you'll get a feel culturally for what it means to live in a very small village. This is a village of probably, I don't know, maybe 150 people, maybe on a good day, if everybody's home. And very, very small, very unique lifestyle, very much sustaining kind of lifestyle, but you'll have a chance to be able to explore that as well, okay? The schedule for your daily experience is going to unfold day by day. We always tell people that the key to a successful experience like this is joyful flexibility. Joyful flexibility. That means that whenever somebody says, "Are you ready to go?" the answer is always yes. And you may not even know where you're going. That maybe things have changed because things shifted a bit. So being flexible and doing that with a joyful spirit is always kind of good. People always want to know about the food. The food will be plentiful, be abundant. Traditional Romanian meals quite often will be prepared for you. You will enjoy and appreciate Romanian food. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. But there'll also be more things that are more typical and more common for you as well. But there's not a lot of strange varieties of food in Romania at all. So you shouldn't have any problem with meals and meal preparation. If you have any particular need, all you have to do, let them know, and they're going to take good care of you. Okay, fair enough. All right. You're going to have some experiences where you are going to visit certain ministry settings or certain communities or certain churches as kind of a group experience. For example, you'll have an experience of visiting the Orthodox Cathedral in Arad. David mentioned that the Protestant community is quite small. The Romanian Orthodox community is the dominant religious group in the country. And so there is a cathedral in Arad, and you'll have a chance to be able to visit it. But better than that, you'll have a chance to visit a local Orthodox church and visit with an Orthodox priest who is a friend of ours, and he is very gracious to be able to help students understand the dynamics of Orthodox worship, which you'll find to be very, very unique and kind of eye-opening in terms of cultural dynamics as well. In addition, in terms of the theological side of the conversation, you'll also have a chance to meet with the dean of the Orthodox Seminary in Arad, and he will do he's been a friend for a long time. He does a great presentation about the kind of the core ingredients of Orthodox theology, what makes their theological perspective unique, and to have conversations. He knows that you're coming from a Wesleyan point of view. He knows that we're not all exactly on the same page in terms of theological principles and things of that sort, but he has a great heart for having conversation. An extended theological conversation will happen when you have a chance to meet with another local priest who happens to be a Greek Catholic. So he's a priest in the Greek Catholic Church, So there's a unique sort of perspective of Catholicism and worship and liturgy and things of that sort. And so you will meet Father Soren, and he will give you kind of an understanding of what's going on there. Okay. You'll also have a chance to visit some of our children's homes that are part of the Global Hope Ministry. You'll have a chance to experience some projects that are happening in the as an extension of the local church. The church connections that you will be with dominantly are the Romanian Baptist churches. Romanian Baptist communities are a little different than what you think about. You typically think about in America, we think Southern Baptist, so you think you kind of have this Southern Baptist framework. Romanian Baptists actually come out of kind of an Armenian strain. So there are more connections between kind of a Wesleyan understanding and a Romanian Baptist understanding of theological principles, although you find them to be some unique components, obviously as well. But you'll visit a number of churches. The Speranța Church is one of the larger churches in the area. It'll be kind of home base for church, but you're also going to get a chance to visit the Harvest Church in town and some small village churches in town as well. You will want to be sure that you are ready and prepared always and everywhere to share your testimony or to share with the congregation where you are. It's not unusual at all, for you to visit a church and someone, they know that you're guests and visitors, and to invite you to come and to share your testimony. So you should have a framework in your mind of something that you would like to share. Remember, joyful flexibility. The answer is always yes. Obviously, you are coming from a Christian community, and they're assuming that as Christian communities, you have a testimony. In the United States, we might say, "Oh, no, not me. In Romania, it's yes, absolutely. I would love to share my testimony. So hop right up there and go for it. Okay. Let's see. Those are kind of the core things that you will have a chance to be able to experience, and all along the way through all of your experiences. Super helpful if you carry a small notebook of some sort, or you can take notes, or you can jot down memories and things like that, because in the evenings you'll want to gather together to kind of process the experience. And David is a pro and will help you kind of discern what you saw and what are some of the background features, what are some of the unique features about Romanian mindset, Romanian history, Romanian culture that really impact things at a level that's different from what you would naturally perceive just from the surface. So carry with you, if you have a little, like a little day bag or something like that, where you can carry a bottle of water and a notebook, you'll be in great shape to be able to jot some notes of things that you hit. So you don't get to the end of the day and you go, wow, that's sort of all blurred together and I really don't know exactly what happened during that day. Jot it down and keep some notes. That'll help you in the daily process of kind of debriefing. Okay. All right. Let me say something about what we recommend you to pack, and then we'll open it up for questions. Fair enough? Okay. So my suggestion, I have two suggestions about packing. First and foremost, you have to be able to carry everything that you have in one load, in one trip. If you're planning to bring a couple, 3 suitcases or something like that, then you're probably not on the right trip. Okay. I usually do 10-day to 2-week trip in Romania with a backpack. So you don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need, a change of fresh things. You don't need anything stylish. You don't need to be, we're not there for that purpose. You need things that are comfortable. It's going to be warm. You're in the middle of July. The weather will be Romania can be hot and humid, but weather varies along the way. But you want something that you want to carry things that are comfortable shoes, comfortable clothing. It is handy to have something that you can toss on if somebody says, "Hey, we're going to church tonight." That doesn't mean that the guys have to have coats and ties. That doesn't mean that the ladies have to have a dress or something like that. But you want to kind of just step it up just a notch in the process. But I'd say pack light. If you wonder if you need it, you probably don't. Electronics or hair dryers and gizmos like that. Remember that Romania is a 220 country, and many electronic items today are automatically converted in their own systems and things like that. But you want to be cautious of that. If you have a question, David can help you out with that, or Romy could help you out with that with no problem. Electronics do require a little. If you're plugging something directly in to an outlet, an American plug requires an adapter with a two-prong, kind of a European style two-prong plug. And if you don't have one, there will be plenty that will be available for you to be able to make your way through that process. But pack light, pack comfortable. Don't plan to take a lot of stuff. You're really not going to need it. I have had students that have packed like a whole suitcase full of peanut butter and crackers or something of that sort. If you it's always kind of nice to have a granola bar or something like that you can tuck away in your bag, and something kind of that is more familiar when you're on the road or something like that. But you won't need to pack all of your own food or water or anything of that sort. Okay. All right. Well, as usual, I talk too much, so let's stop there and let's answer questions that you have, because that's really the most important part of the process, to answer your question. Who has a question about travel or about the experience or about anything that goes? Okay, Sarah.
So I know we need to pack light and pack for heat, but I also had mentioned in my email that I researched some places require shoulders and knees to be covered. So I just didn't know the balance of is it safe to bring shorts? Should we stick to pants? Do we need anything else as far as coverings for any of the places we're going?
Well, let me share with you my thought about that, and then David, you may have some things to add to that as well. The Christian community and in Romania, when the people that you're going to be around in the Protestant community, when they're talking about the Christian community, they're talking about the Protestant community. There's a very strong distinction between the Protestant community and the Orthodox community. So within the Christian community of the Protestant church, you would find people are typically more conservative. More conservative in dress and things of that sort. Now you'll see like on the streets of Arad, very Western folks. You may see some dress codes that you might think would be violations even in New York City, things of that sort. But on the whole, you are there as a representative of the Christian community, so a more modest approach is appropriate. Romanians typically don't wear a lot of shorts and things of that sort typically, but if you did have shorts, you want to make sure that if they're appropriate and stuff of that sort. A t-shirt is better than a tank top. If you're thinking about in those terms and things of that sort. And for like attending worship or something of that sort, there's no, they know that you're traveling, they know that you're students, they get all that. You can be more relaxed with that, but you do want to kind of just step it up a notch. David, what would you add to the issues of dress code and things of that sort?
Yeah. So if it's just hanging around the camp and things like that, I'm sure shorts will be okay. Longer shorts, but and as Randy said, t-shirts are better than tank tops, whatever it is. If it's kind of tighter fitting, that'll be good. But at the same time, if we're going to a church or something like that, if you have something that's loose, that's covering you, that's good. So it's something that you'll be able to withstand heat in. So like I'll wear shorts and t-shirt around town or around the camp, but if we're gonna go someplace like a church or I would wear long pants, light pants, and a t-shirt. As women, you'll see women with slacks, but also long skirts, and by long, just covering the knee. But yeah, that's right, it's just a bit more modest. So if you're just thinking along those lines, but you're gonna see people, as Randy said, on all sides of the spectrum. So once you do, don't think you told me to dress modestly.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to,
Are jeans acceptable?
in the church culture, women typically, didn't used to make up and things like that. And it was, so we always chatted about that. And then you'll see someone on the street, and then you go, "Wow, I thought you said no makeup," but there's somebody who's just like looks like a fashion model coming out of some kind of sensuous fabric store or something like that, and you'll see some of that. But in the church, you're a representative of the Christian community, so you approach it from that perspective, and you'll be just fine. Okay.
Are jeans acceptable for all the churches we'll be visiting?
Yes. Yes. No problem at all. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What other questions?
One other thing I would just say with packing is I would bring it like a rain jacket just in case, or
Oh.
something like that. It will be hot, but there is, from time to time we'll get a deluge, and so having something like that makes it just, if we're caught someplace, you'll have that in your bag.
Yeah, I recommend hats too. You may be out, and it will be it's likely to be hot or wet, so a hat can be very, very helpful in the process as well. Yeah. Okay. Comfortable shoes though, important. You'll be doing some walking here and there. Yeah. Okay.
Were there any dietary restrictions y'all had? No, that's good.
Yeah, I
Makes
don't
it
think
easy.
we had any listed there, but the folks who do the majority of the cooking, majority of your meals will be at the camp. The ladies that cook there, just to let them know, and it's no problem at all. Yeah, you'll also have a chance to be able to eat out, and you'll have some meals in some restaurants or things of that sort, and have a chance to be able to experience that as well. Yeah. Okay.
What kind of money do we need to bring or get exchanged when we get there?
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, so I typically recommend that you don't bring a lot of money unless you really know that you want to invest in souvenirs or things like that you want to bring home as gifts or things of that sort. Your credit card is very accepted. If you have a credit card, a MasterCard or Visa, those are the two that are most prominent. And you can use them most anywhere. I typically, you may have a recommendation of this as well, David, but I typically recommend that folks don't exchange a lot of money. Don't exchange money before you go. Don't exchange money at the airport. wait till you get there, and then David or Roman or somebody can help you exchange some money. So, for example, maybe you want to exchange $20 and just get some Romanian currency so that you could buy a Coke at the convenience store downtown or something of that sort. Just so you had a little bit of money in your pocket. That'd be great. But for larger purchases and things like that, you can either use your credit card, which will give you a straightaway exchange rate, or if you know that you want to buy something significant, you want to spend, $50 on an icon that you find in the store or something of that sort. I'd suggest that you talk to David or talk to Romy and negotiate that beforehand, and then exchange that amount of money that you would need to be able to buy that if it requires that. So you really don't need very much at all. All of your expenses are going to be cared for, but when you get to on your last day, the last day is going to be in Budapest, and you'll find a great number of places to spend money. So, but they will also, you can also use your credit card there. So in Romania, the currency is called lei. In Hungary, it's called forint. And exchange rate about 4 to 1 now, David. Yeah,
4.5. Yep.
Okay, yeah, and but you can find exchange places very easily, and you can exchange what you need along the way. Okay. Does that help, Matt?
A few things I would add is things are more and more electronic and less cash. With cash, you actually do get maybe a little bit better, marginal exchange rate, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. ATM machines are all over the place. The one thing you want to do is to make sure your bank know that you're traveling to Romania, so they don't block your card when they see it being used in Europe. And then also you might check to see, sometimes your smaller banks charge a lot for using it in a non, one of their non-ATM approved machines. So you just want to check on that also. But they're all over the place, and you can pay with cards or debit cards. And yeah, that's
yeah.
Just so you all know, I won't be with you in Budapest just because Romika, I think the car that he has is enough for all the students. But if I would go as well, it would mean getting another car. And so I'll just meet you, and I'll meet you as you come into Romania, and then you'll also go out that last day on your own.
Yeah, and Romy will be with you in Budapest. Yeah. The other piece that comes up from time to time has to do with cell phones. So you can do whatever you like with your cell phone process. The one thing that you don't want to do is just casually go to Romania and leave your phone just running just like it was in the United States, unless you have a plan to be able to accommodate that. Your roaming charges and data charges and stuff like that you'll come home and discover that you are going to have to take out a second mortgage or something, So get a plan. I'm a Verizon customer, so for $10 a day, you can do full-scale international stuff with Verizon. But you're different. You just check with your cell phone provider. If you don't establish a plan, just keep it on like airplane mode and use Wi-Fi. You should all load, I don't know if you use WhatsApp. Are you all WhatsApp users? Okay, so load WhatsApp on your phone, and you can use it internationally, any place around the world, all the time. It's the standard for phone conversations for no charge. You could call, any place you have Wi-Fi, you could make a phone call without any problem at all. Okay.
So yeah, I think on your settings on your phone, you can make sure your roaming is off. Otherwise, you're going to pay a lot. As Ernie said, you can get a phone card here for like $7, $8 maybe, and that would cover all your data and everything for the month. It's not a lot, but to use that on your phone, you need to make sure it's not locked into your phone plan. Like, so Verizon phones sometimes are locked, but if it's unlocked, you can you'll have a thing on your phone. You can pin it, the card comes out and you can replace it with this card for a week and use that. But if we have internet access at the camp, which I assume there is, you shouldn't even need really the phone, because you can do everything you need through the internet.
Yeah, you'll have internet access frequently. You won't have any problem with that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
One other question that's maybe not trip related, but class related. I haven't heard anything else about the other class requirements. I mean, I've read all of the books, but are there things we should be doing to prepare or ahead of time, or that we can expect throughout the rest of the semester?
Well, because of the uniqueness of the situation for your group, it's going to be a little bit different. Jim Hampton in the Mentor Ministry office is going to be the one who's going to follow up with details in terms of your course credit and stuff of that sort. Essentially, you want to get your reading done. You want to submit your reading reports. Just post them on the Canvas site. You can submit them directly to Jim Hampton as well if you'd like to. Just email him a one-page summary that talks about the key points that you discovered through your individual readings, and a couple of things that you think would be significant that you'd like to share with somebody else. And you'll be in great shape. Just email those directly to James Hampton. Y'all know Jim? No? Okay. Director of the Mentored Ministry Program, or you can just send it to Mentored Ministry at asburyseminary.edu, and Rachel will get those and take care of it. Let's do that. Okay. Mentored Ministry at asburyseminary.edu. It'll go to Rachel, the administrative assistant in the office, and just identify it as the Romania travel course, and it's your reading report. So just submit those ahead of time. If you've got all your reading done, that's perfect. The key ingredient that you're going to be a little bit different is your ethnographic research plan. So typically for this course, you'd be writing an ethnographic research document, and you'd be posting that online, and other students would be interacting with you about that. This situation is a little different, where your evening sessions are going to dominantly be focused on the experience that you have had during the day. And you want to be honing in on something. Maybe you're especially interested, maybe you're a linguist and you really like to catch the nuance of Romanian language. Maybe you are culturally sensitive to the needs of, you're going to meet folks in the disability community. Maybe you're interested in the needs of abandoned children. Maybe you're interested in just the history of Romania as a whole. Maybe you get captivated by the Roma community. Maybe students are typically really interested in what's happening with the Roma community in the area, and so you want to focus on that. And in your evening discussions, you want to talk about and learn about and discover more about how you expand the horizons in that particular area. And so your ethnographic research project is more of a conversation than a document. You're not going to write a document. You're going to engage in the conversation. Now, if you're one that doesn't do very well in group conversations like that, that may be a struggle. But your group is pretty small. There's only 6 students, so your willingness to kind of engage the culture, learn about yourself, identify who you are, how your culture, your history, your heritage makes your relationship with the Romanian culture kind of unique. You have a unique encounter for each one of you because you all come from different perspectives. You all have different values and backgrounds and histories and heritage. And some of you are firstborn kids, and some of you are lastborn, and some of you have been exiled from the family, and some of you are the queen of the prom, you know. So, you know, but your background makes a difference in how you engage people around you. So learn about yourself and have conversation with each other and with David and with Romy about the people around you and the experience that you're having in terms of culture, of history and heritage and values and assumptions. Most of the time, our own personal culture, our own internal culture, is dominantly invisible to us. We live in it so deeply that we don't see it. we don't recognize that we always sit at the same place at the table. You know, we don't see things that are very evident to us all the time until we bump up against someone else, until we see somebody else do something a little bit differently. One of the most interesting things that I discovered in the early days in Romania was understanding the people around me. I didn't speak, understand, or have any concept of Romanian language, and I had these really close friends who were helping us with groups and things like that, and they were functioned as our drivers, and they provided housing for us and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, they would get into these conversations where it was like, "Oh man, I thought they were going to go to blows." And they were just talking about, should we turn left or should we turn right? You know, what's the quickest way to get to across town? You know, because Romanian culture is kind of sort of intense. And if you are a person who comes from a very laid back, kind of quiet cultural background, that might sound like there's people around you who are fighting. And they're really not fighting at all. So understanding who you are and applying that to the situation around you is a unique thing. Have you all read Ethnography as a Pastoral Practice? Have you all completed that reading? Okay, if you completed that reading, you'll remember a little section early on in the book that describes a situation of two individuals who attended the same potluck meal. Do you remember that? They attended a potluck meal at the same church, and the young man shows up at the potluck meal, and he's going, "Wow, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Look at all this, man. They got beef, they got pork, they got chicken, they got kumquats, everything. You know, it's all laid out there." And he has a great time. And then his friend, the young woman who comes in, who happens to be a vegetarian, and walks into the room and goes, "Oh my God, can you believe this? These people are eating this stuff," you know? And she's very uncomfortable and because the history, the setting wasn't any different, but the background, the personal experience, the values, the assumptions of the individual were so remarkably different. So understanding who we are as individuals is central to finding out what are the people like around us. And especially in a new culture where you're experiencing new people and new places and new things and new ways of doing business, new ways of looking at the world, you'll learn some things about yourself as well. So those are evening conversations. Those are kind of sitting around the campfire. I don't know, really sit around a campfire, but those are the kind of evening things where you're processing the day and you're experiencing life together. One of the unique things I would ask you to do is, you might meet some older folks in the churches or things of that sort. You might take a look at what is the generational difference in Romanian culture. How do generations operate? Because an older generation are mostly folks who grew up and lived most of their lives, the bulk of their lives, under communism. The formative years of their lives were lived under communism, as opposed to a person who is 25 years old and only knows communism because their parents told them about it, you know, that sort of thing. And you'll find a completely different mindset about the political intellectual world around them. You'll find that in the church as well, where the church was oppressed. People went to prison, pastors went to prison, because they were distributing materials. They were distributing Christian materials or something of that sort, as opposed to today where it's a free process, and nobody would ever even think about that sort of journey. Okay, so learn about yourself, engage the culture, be open to possibilities, ask appropriate questions, unpeel the onion a little bit. If you see something that I wonder what that's about, go ahead and ask the question in an appropriate way. If you're wondering whether it's an appropriate question, well, then ask David or ask Romy. And they'll help you kind of unpack that a little bit. Okay.
And if I yell at you, just know it's cultural.
Yeah, it's just like yeah.
Is there anything we need to know about the language? You mentioned that, and you talk about us sharing testimonies, and I'm wondering, even as we're attending worship, what's the language barrier going to be like? Are there key phrases that we might want to learn ahead of time, that sort of thing?
Well, you'll learn some natural things to say, polite language to say please and thank you, and things of that sort, pretty easily. In terms of sharing a testimony, you share it in English. You'll share with a translator in most situations. So if you've never worked with a translator, you're just sharing small pieces and letting them kind of work with you in that process of sharing testimony. You'll find many people around you will speak English. Well, you won't find yourself isolated or something of that sort. You'll learn, you'll kind of naturally learn some Romanian. You'll want to say good morning to folks when you wake up in the morning. Bună dimineața. Good morning. You can look online for Romanian language details, and you'll catch a lot of pieces of phrases and things like that. Mulțumesc, thank you. Okay. So
Duolingo is good. If you have that app, you can do Romanian, and it will give you can start doing some introductory things. Romanian is Latin based, so if you have Spanish, French, Italian, any of these Latin languages, you'll pick up things quicker. And you have this great advantage that is also a disadvantage if you want to learn the language, but it's Google Translate. It makes it hard to learn the language, but it will make it so that you can, look at a menu and get things very quickly. If you have an internet connection to minimize the language barrier. But I do say, usually with teams like this, with groups like this, the language barrier is going to be a frustration. And so if you think about it in terms of your inability to do things, and even looking at mission or pastoral engagement through the lens of powerlessness, that can be some of your experience for the week. And so just so that it doesn't need to be a frustration, it can be also an experience that you start to reflect on what does ministry mean from a place of powerlessness.
Okay, very good, David. I'm so glad you're doing this, David. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be very cool.
I have one final question
Sure,
that
sure.
I thought of.
Go ahead.
I know, well, first of all, I know we're flying through Germany, but that's a whole nother thing. Is there any medications or anything that are restricted in Romania as far as what we can bring with us?
What would you be bringing?
I'm just on ADHD medication, so I have a prescription and everything, but it's a controlled substance, so I don't want to do anything like that. But,
No.
Yeah, I would have a copy of your prescription just in case, but you
Okay.
should be fine, probably.
okay, cool.
Yeah, just like you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a copy, a document of some sort. But it is 9 times out of 10, it's never going to be a problem at all. Unless you're involved in the international smuggling ring, and then you might have a problem.
No.
Okay.
When you're here, I'll tell you the story of me smuggling in drugs into Romania.
Oh, okay.
It's a good story. They were helpful drugs. I do say so when you're leaving, as Randy said, you can forget almost anything, but don't forget your passport. Don't forget your medicine. Don't forget access to your plane ticket if it's through your phone or having a ticket, and access to money. Everything else you can forget, but make sure you got those things.
Yeah, your passport. I always recommend that people actually. I always just carry my passport with me all the time. I don't leave it back in the room or try to hide it someplace from someone or something like that. I just keep it in my pocket, and if that's your identification, that's your trip home. That's if you need to exchange money, you may need to have your passport to exchange money, something like that. I just keep it with me all the time. I always want to know where my passport is. And your phone is a key essential ingredient for you as well. So it's going to be your, unless you're a paper airline ticket person, your phone is going to be your key for getting around. Having a debit card. That David has mentioned. The society has gone from being 100% cash economy, where there weren't even bank accounts, from 100% cash economy to now almost entirely electronic economy. So you're tapping your card will cover you almost everywhere you can go. Okay. Well, listen, we're going to wrap this up here, but I'm really excited about your experience. Love to follow up with you afterwards and learn about what you discovered and what you experienced. Be open to what God has in store for you. Be available in terms of your ability and your desire to learn and to discover, and you will do just great. Pray for one another as you prepare and are coming together. You're going to meet in Chicago and travel together. You're going to spend a lot of time together. There's 3 and 3, male and female, the sort of division in the student group. So you'll find kind of that dynamic going on. Your housing will work out really terrific. And did I mention that going to the balcony at the camp? Go to the balcony of the camp and look out over the valley. I'll refund your money if you don't think that's the most beautiful view in the world. Okay, all right.
I may just say that so to have the money back and go back.
I have a truth detector. I have, Okay.
All right.
Well, God
Thank
bless
you.
you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Excited about the adventure and really delighted that you're part of the crew. So David,
one thing, just we'll be praying for y'all. Looking forward to this time together. If anything happens, any hiccups, I'll also email you my number and find me on WhatsApp. And then if anything's happening, you get delays, just these things happen, just roll with it, but do let us know, so we can make sure we're doing what we need on our end to help with organization.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
Have you already posted your phone number, David?
I'll send it in the email here, just as a response. Everybody has that.
Download WhatsApp and load David's phone number in, and you'll be just fine. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Randy, I'm going to send you an email. I don't have Pastor Romika's info.
Oh.
Okay.
I can send that to you also.
I'll get that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Right. Thank you so much.
God bless you all. Take care.
We'll see you then in a couple days.
Yeah.
Coming soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to meet you all.